Hi. So, I wrote some notes. I wasn't necessarily, I guess you could call it, exuberant to do this video, but I couldn't sleep last night, and so I started to write some notes. And it's a good way to have, like therapy, to go over some of the stuff that has happened in the past, and just kind of review, I guess you could call it. So here's my video. I call it My Love Landscape, the Rocky Terrain of Daring to Continue on Breathing. My notes, you ready? Aside from a romantic pursuits, which I'm not opposed to care a little more or less, or if you're interested, not even in the smallest amount about, I had begun thinking about sentiments of this topic as young as approximately 5 years of age. And I can remember wondering what it was going to be like for my own household and children about that time. I realized at a fairly early point in the progression of experiences I've lived that to consider same-sex interactions with an open mind would then bring either a complicated delusion of a reality, which proved undesirable to me. I don't want delusions. Nah. Or it positioned me for social abuses of numerous types, which I actually began to view as an interesting opportunity to accumulate upon sophistication of wisdom and skills. In grade school, when I was about 10 years old, I started to broaden my perspectives and simply accepted that there were some things about other girls and women that I considered to be attractive. However, I still kept very secretive about these realizations, and for the most part, did not act upon them, not even when I was seeking to live adventurously during my party years of my newly realized years of adulthood. Eventually, this is into my long term, when I was, how old was I? I think I was almost in my 40s when I finally did this stuff. Eventually, I engendered the concept of what I identified as pansexuality. And even though my personal successes had a very limited zeal, I was somewhat victorious to actually experience what I would call a realistic relationship of polyamory that consisted of a small group of also pansexual romantic partners who depended upon each other for moral support, deep affection, and very many multiples of other ideas, such as many options for therapies as well as opportunities to develop impressive skill sets. Don't get me wrong, society, of course, has a very over-enthusiastically detrimental to my pursuits presence amid the determination, I should say our pursuits actually, detrimental to our pursuits presence amid the determinations and practices that are attempted. And of course, the resulting experience appears very extremely different than quite a lot of the intentions that I, for one, subconsciously and consciously commit to. But to realize The difficulties exist is one of the absolute most fundamental basics about studying a specific path to realize an end of a very specific type. By many accounts, the type of success that many people are seeking to achieve, romantic or otherwise, remains enormously difficult to obtain, or maybe I should say to maintain, for a length that equals impressive enough to actually brag regarding. Very sadly, challenges with regard to relationships especially appear by many accounts to have such vast depth and power that most people really struggle and simply gain experience to navigate more difficulties rather than to enjoy a longevity of a strong bond that is desired. I don't know about you, but I've often worried that I personally might have some very significantly disturbing defect causing the struggle in my romantic life. I realize I am I am having success when I seek solace in God, but confusingly, many of the complications stubbornly persist. Ultimately, I accept that since God has no limits, I must trust His guidance and be as diligent as possible for His plans. I can advise absolutely any person that asks. He definitely knows what he's doing and can provide real value, real wisdom, and real change to your experiences. In the name of Jesus, peace and blessings to you.